Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is News and Week in Review, where we're going to dive into a variety of news pieces, the Board Game Geek hotness, the games I played, the videos of the week, all of that and more, and of course links and timestamps to everything down below. Although before we go any further, I should say the obvious, that is, I'm on a couch, which feels like the less exciting sing-along version of I'm on a boat, but it is what it is. But let's take a little bit of a recap because there's two different people here. There's the people who are just going to see I'm on a couch, and there's the people who know about the couch, the return of the couch. This is not the couch, by the way. This is a different couch. And in fact, this isn't even the final form. This isn't even like our boss's final form. There'll be another couch coming at some point shortly. Let's rewind. So, if you've been watching me for 5 years, if you've been watching me since I started this, which first of all, thank you for being here all this time, then you know that once upon a time, I used to do videos exclusively on a couch. I then migrated to an actual set, and then that was kind of started doing a hybrid model where I was doing the set and the couch, and then eventually the couch phased out because I needed room for all the various game shelves that needed to go in my studio slash basement slash game room slash office space slash kind of everything all in one in way too small of a space. But now that I've moved, I now have a couch. So we have the return of the couch, sort of. The sort of is a few things. First of all, I'm assuming there's an echo in this video because this room probably is more, the structure of this room probably means there's more of an echo. I hope to deal with that at some point. I also want the lighting to be a drop more interesting, maybe throw a light behind me or something. So we're going to mess with the set, no differently than we're messing with the other set. I'm pointing that way because that's where the other set is. I will be messing with this set slowly but surely over time. Also, I don't know how frequently it will or won't be used. Will it be used for the week in reviews, topical videos, a little bit of just videos here, videos there? I don't yet know. I'm going to be playing it by ear, but it will come back in some way, shape, or form. I like the idea of having multiple sets for multiple types of videos. I just want the sets to all feel, well, good enough. I want them to have as little echo as possible, as good lighting as possible, all the things that would make, well, a video be as good as possible. So I want to have all that. Also, this couch itself will be replaced, and that's actually going to lead into some of those things where I'm probably not going to mess with the echo or the lighting too much until the couch is replaced, since I know that this is being replaced in roughly, what do we have here? It's currently maybe 2 weeks from now or so it's being replaced. Long story short, I bought a couch on Memorial Day when I moved. I thought it was a great couch. It was even very comfortable. Turns out it was a great couch, and it was very comfortable, and too many people bought that couch, and it was in back order for 2 months. So I still want the couch, but now I just have to wait 2 months to get it. Well, now we're down to 2 weeks, or a month and a half. I don't know. Either way, from when I bought it till now, we have a few weeks left till I have the new couch, and that should, that will help inform how I modulate the space. So, couch videos are back in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how much, how that, we'll figure it all out, but, I don't know. I like the couch. I like a couch. I like having somewhere I can sit down that's not just a game table. Somewhere I can feel like a bit more like I'm relaxing. You ever watch Thinker Themer? Like Mondays with Thinker Themer? When they have their whole, like, you know, sitting on 2 armchairs just having a fun time. Like, there's something more homely, more vibey, more relaxing about just engaging on something like this as opposed to just a game table and a set. I think there's a good place for both. A review is much harder to do from this seat over here. Although if you really want to go old school, check out like my review for like Horrified, like the original Horrified, or Architects of the West Kingdom, where I don't talk at all about the actual game. I just go into my thoughts and opinions. You don't see the game at all. I'm just sitting on a couch or talking about them. If you really want to go old school, watch Horrified by Board Game Co. and Architects of the West Kingdom by Board Game Co. Both of those are going to be really old school reviews that, or even Airland and Sea, one of my first reviews I ever did on the channel. Listen, the first year of doing YouTube was a whole lot of just trying to figure it out, and figure it out included anything from the equipment I used, to where I filmed, to how I did things, including how fast I talked, because I talk fast. We're getting into like really kind of tangents over here, so it is what it is. I always talk fast in real life. That's not different than how I am on camera. But I do think I used to talk a little slower on camera, and I think I did speed it up over time. I don't know exactly why that is. It might be a combination of trying to inject enthusiasm and excitement into the way you present on camera. Like, if you watch my older videos, I think I was much more monotone. I was like, hi, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and today we're going to have the news and week in review. I think there's more of a monotone approach to it. And that's not how I am in real life, it's just how I was on camera. And so over time I learned how to, I don't know, treat the camera like a real person as opposed to a camera, if that makes sense. Even though the camera is a camera and not a real person, but it does help. It does help to have that treat it like you're actually here in the room with me, talking to me and all that stuff. So, anyways, old school things. Things have changed over time. Maybe I should slow down like 10%. Nothing crazy, but maybe 10%. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into the news. Links and timestamps to everything down below, but let's go ahead and start off first with, not really news so much, but more of an update, and I'll probably be mentioning this in the next two or 3 weeks until we get to Gencon. But basically, I'll be doing a panel at Gencon with the Dice Tower, with Tom specifically, Tom Vassil from the Dice Tower. I'll be doing a panel of our board game reviews important and how the board game media has changed. I don't know where this conversation is going to go because he and I only have the loosest of cliff notes of what we plan on talking about, and from there we'll just see what happens. I believe it's an hour-long panel. It's going to be on Friday at 1 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. Nope. Oh, wait, no, yeah, start time. Friday, I saw Friday at 2 o'clock and I panicked. It's Friday at 1 o'clock, ends at Friday at 2 o'clock. It's completely free. It's just going to be at Gen Con. It's going to be in location ICC, International Convention Center, I think, or whatever, Indiana Convention Center, Indianapolis Convention Center, 144, 145. So you can go ahead and check that out. That'll be happening at Gen Con if you are attending. And to people asking, I've had people ask already, I don't believe it will be recorded. I'm sorry. I know these things can be better. It can be, for people who can't attend, it can be great. If someone does record it, great, it is what it is, but like I don't think we're going to have recording equipment properly set up or mic'd up or any of that. I apologize for that. But yeah, that will be happening at Gen Con. We also have over here an open letter to pleasures. This is from Monolith over here. I highly recommend checking this out. Let me just, I can't sign into my account over here. Anyways, Monolith, an open letter to pleasures. This is a great breakdown Monolith, who recently did Mythic Battles Isfet. Mythic Battles Isfet drastically underperformed compared to the original Mythic Battles Ragnarok. No differently than 7th Citadel drastically underperformed compared to the original 7th Citadel. No differently than so many campaigns are underperforming compared to how the originals have done. Crowdfunding in general, there's actually not less money in crowdfunding. There's roughly the same amount as there was this time last year, but the money is more widely distributed and larger projects are having a harder time funding as much. There's less, for instance, a good metric would be, last year this time, there were like 15, 20 campaigns that had crossed the 2 million mark, and this year, I think there's one. I think there's only one campaign, two actually. There's Altered TCG, which is a trading card game, and then there's, oh my gosh, what's the, Grim Coven. Grim Coven is the other one, and those are the only two campaigns that have crossed $2 million, as of this time this year, which is much, much, much less than last year. So the money's being more widely distributed. Monolith is putting out a letter just talking about the nature of the crowdfunding space, of companies that have had crises, and just the way the approach Monolith has taken to the space, and their desire for, consumer confidence, although the harsh reality is, as much as this letter is very educational and very useful, and I do recommend reading this, and there's a lot going on. There's lots of numbers, lots of breakdowns. I think it's very, very educational for anyone who backs games to read and understand what the sector is like. I also think at the end of the day that a letter like this doesn't inherently inspire confidence. That's the hard part. A letter like this kind of tells you, hey, here's why other companies have had issues, here's why we don't, and you still as a backer have to figure out which companies fall into which category, which is very tricky. And also, not to mention the fact that telling people, hey, we're telling people we are totally fine and we don't have issues, also doesn't necessarily inherently inspire confidence. I do think the letter does inspire some. The nature of what Monolith has done in terms of the way they've structured and restructured to approach crowdfunding delays, it does, and also I can tell you as someone who has covered their games, when I covered Mythic Battles Isfet, it completely feels like a final game. It feels like a final, this little board box falling on my head, it feels like a final game, it felt like a final rulebook, all those things are good, so it does look good. Give me a second here. It does look like Mythic Battles, or like a Monolith specifically has. We're going to take this box down because it's not wanting to sit up. These are the games I'll be playing this week, or hopefully when I play. The games on the table. They're no longer the games on the table. They're the games on the couch behind my head. Anyways, but yeah, I do highly recommend reading this letter, an open letter to pleasures from Monolith. We have Munchkin Digital coming to you from, Steve Jackson Games, and then also obviously from Direwolf Digital. I don't know why I said obviously. In case you didn't realize, Direwolf Digital is behind this. This is going to be like a rogue-like kind of, Slay the Spire kind of card game. Very intrigued. I will be playing this at some point. I will probably tell you my thoughts in some way, shape, or form. I don't really cover digital games in an official format, although I do want to do a digital review of Dominion, so maybe we'll get to it in some way. Anyways, we have Munchkin Digital in case you want to go ahead and check that out. We also have over here, we have Nucleum. Nucleum is coming, how can I get this in the centered over here? More content for Nucleum as they continuously come out with new content over here. This is going to be, let's see if I can open this up. Here we go. We have the Patrons over here. The Patrons for Nucleum, a mini expansion. Nucleum Patrons is going to be available in their Spiel pre-order. This is not a full expansion. It is a mini expansion for Nucleum in case you wanted even more content for Nucleum. We also have over here, we have Alex Radcliffe and Mike Dunn talk about passion for gaming and different approaches to covering it. This is a little video on Gaming Trend, a 14-minute video that I filmed together with Mike Dunn from Gaming Trend over at Origins. It's an interesting video. I do recommend checking these things out if you want to check it out. You do not have to, obviously, but I don't know why I said that. Obviously, you don't have to check out anything I say. But anyways, a little bit of a segment I did with Mike Dunn. We have Everdell Duo. This is going to be the last piece of news we have this week. We have a very short week as far as news goes, but we have Everdell Duo. This is going to be coming to Kickstarter in 2024, and there are going to be two camps of people, and honestly, there's going to be a Venn diagram within that camp, because there's going to be the camp of people that are upset at Tabletop Tycoon for continuously milking the Everdell line, and then there's going to be the line of people who are very interested in Everdell Duo, because it's a two-player version of Everdell, which you can play Everdell 2 players, but it's a two-player specific version of Everdell that has different look to it in some way, shape, or form. I mean, I don't know what's actually going to be different, but there's a market here. There seems to be worker placement. Don't know much more about it. Seems there's a campaign book. Everdell Duo campaign book. That seems exciting. And then there's the Venn diagram of the people who are both upset at Starling Games, at Tabletop Tycoon, and who want Everdell Duo. And yeah, I get it. I do understand that people, especially after Everdell Farshore, which basically felt like a rebranding of Everdell. I can tell you from having played Everdell Farshore, I'm very happy it exists. I'm very, very happy it exists. It's been the Everdell that I've played more often, more recently. Not to diminish Everdell. I just think Everdell Farshore, if you're gonna play just base Everdell versus base Everdell Farshore, I think base Everdell Farshore does add enough to the game that I'm very happy it exists. It was expensive. I'm not gonna diminish that. It was an expensive game, and I don't think you need both Everdell and Everdell Farshore. So to that end, I understand the milking aspect. But between Everdell Farshore, between My Little Everdell, which I think they rebranded to Everdell Junior, maybe. Like they rebranded. They kept everything the same, but they changed the name of the box and the BG listing. But anyways, they have Everdell, a million expansions, Everdell Junior, Everdell Farshore, and now Everdell Duo. And if you think that's the end of the Everdell universe, as long as people keep buying it, it will keep coming out with more stuff. This is no different than Zombicide, than Marvel United, than any game that, in general, Dominion for that matter, there's so many games that will continuously come out with more content. And that is what we have for the news this week. Not a ton of stuff, but we do have the Board Game Geek Hotness. Time to review the Board Game Geek Hotness over here. We have Rock Hard 1977. This is almost certainly here because it's currently the #1 most thumbed item on the BGG Gencon preview page with like 500 thumbs and whatnot, so people are definitely clicking it and checking it out. We have over here, we have Terrascape has a crowdfunding campaign. Atlantis Exodus is a new game that I just saw the title for recently. We have Millennium Space Agency. I'm not sure why that's on the list over here, but that's a slightly old title. Sentinels of the Multiverse Definitive Edition. There was, I believe, a Prime Day sale on this one, and that is always going to generate clicks as people see a game, click on it, and want to find out more. Those of you, if you didn't already buy, first of all, Prime Day. Did you buy anything for Prime Day? I bought way too much for Prime Day. That's primarily because I moved, and that's a good opportunity to buy all these new things, and I spent way too much on Prime Day. But anyways, we have Sentinels of the Multiverse Definitive Edition, a great game to check out if you haven't already. There were some more things I want to talk about over here. We have Brass, Word, River of Gold. River of Gold is going to be a Gen Con preview, I believe, a Gen Con title. I've heard good things about this one. Haven't actually played it myself. We also have... I feel I had more things over here I want to go over. Spirit Island. Why do I want to talk about Spirit Island? I don't remember why. Spirit Island got higher. I don't know why. We have Saltfjord. Saltfjord over here. That's a very interesting one. This is going to be a reprint of... I'm going to have to click on it. Let's see. Let's go open link in a new tab over here. Saltfjord is a reprint of Santa Maria. Okay, so if you played Santa Maria, the art looks great. I like this one. Like, I like Santa Maria, but I like the look of this one more, so I'm intrigued as far as... I am intrigued. I don't know if they're making any changes to the gameplay, but I did enjoy Santa Maria enough that I kind of want to try this one and see if I like it more. But if it's the exact same game, I don't know if I need to. Obviously, we have Luthier because of the crowdfunding campaign doing incredibly well. They did 200,000 day one, something like that, possibly even more. We have Everdell, which is going to be in the BG Hotness somewhere over here because specifically, I thought it wasn't Hotness. There we go. Everdell, because of Everdell Duo, the announcement there, that's going to bring it up. We have Distilled as well because of similarly to Luthier. Luthier from Pavison Games is from the same creator as Distilled, which also brought Distilled further up in the hotness somewhere. There we go. Number 8 in the hotness, doing incredibly well. And then we had one more, I think. No, that may have been everything I was going to talk about. I don't know. We have Loot, which I haven't looked into yet. There's a few over here I have not yet looked into, which I will cover in future weeks. But that's going to be a little bit of a coverage of the Board Game Geek hotness and the things that are going up there. Which means it's time to go ahead and put this away and talk about the games I played and the videos of the week and all of that. So, as far as the games I played, we have a few things. As usual, this is not a full sampling of everything I've played. It's just a small sampling of, well, some of the stuff I've gotten to the table. We have Faraway. I will have a review coverage for you at some point, but I've gotten, 10 plus plays of Faraway this past week. It's It's a very addictive game from Pandasaurus. I really enjoyed it. I played it for the first time at Dice Tower East. I really had a lot of fun with it there, and I've continued to table it. It's basically you draft 8 cards, not really draft, every round you play a card to take a card, and then the card you play goes into your row, the card you take goes into your hand, and that gives you 3 new options for the next round. You continue that process, but each card has different things on it, and then at the end of the game, and then at the end of 8 cards being played, you're going to reveal your cards in reverse and score those cards. And the order matters because each card scores based on the things that are currently revealed. So when you reveal card 8, it's only scoring based on card 8, and some extra cards you can earn in the game. Card 7 will score based on card... Card 7 will score based on cards 7 and 8, and all the extra cards in the game. Sorry. Card 6 will score based on cards 6, 7, and 8, and all the extra cards in the game. So in general, it's a very fast game. It plays in like 10 minutes. It plays in like 15-20 minutes, and gives you a good variable scoring experience for the game. We also have Waffle Time. I haven't played Waffle Time in maybe a year, maybe a year and a half, I don't know, whenever my review was. Like, I've played it since my review, but not that often. It's been a long time. But I'm really enjoying Waffle Time. I think it is... I played Waffle Time with my kids. I had a great time playing with them. I thought it was a good scoring... I don't know. I remember enjoying the game. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5. I think I would bump my rating to a 3.5, just based on one play so far, but based on one more play so far, I should say. But I think Waffle Time is very charming. Maybe it's because I recently played Charcuterie. I played and reviewed Charcuterie, and it kind of has that vibe, and that's part of why I played it again, because my review for Charcuterie made me remember it, and I was like, I should play Waffle Time. And so I played Waffle Time again. I played, my kids liked it a lot. We had a lot of fun, drafting little ingredients, trying to structure our waffles. It was a good, fun, charming game. An excellent gateway game. Definitely encourage checking it out. We also had Deus. I played Deus at Dice Tower East, and I don't know if it's going to stay in my collection, which is interesting, because Deus has been in my collection, out of my collection, in my collection, out of my collection. This is currently the 3rd time in my collection, and it may leave again at the end of the day. And I think this time I should trust myself, which this does happen. There are many games I've had in my collections over the years. Collection over the years, not plural. There are many games I've had in my collection over the years, and there are many games that I get back, or get a second time. Speaking of which, Everdell, one of my favorite games of all time, is a game I got rid of and then got back. But I think that there are very few games I've actually gotten 3 times. It's happened, but it's very, very rare. And from those, I'm actually curious. I'm curious if I could come up with a list, because it'd be hard to remember them. But like the amount of games I've gotten back, decent amount. I've gotten Dominion. I got rid of Dominion, got it back. I got rid of Raja the Ganges, got it back. I got rid of Everdell, got it back. There's a bunch of games. I could probably go through my collection and come up with like 20 games that I got rid of and got back. This would be a good video. I should do a video on this. But games I got rid of and got back and got rid of and got back, that's rare. But Deus, I think, has to leave for a 3rd time because I think it's too inconsistent as to when I have a good gaming experience or when I have an okay gaming experience. And the last leave is Skyrise. I played Skyrise at Dice Tower East as well. I may have talked about this last week. I don't remember. If I did, I apologize. But I really enjoyed Skyrise. I thought it was excellent. Wait, what day is it? Which week are we in? Dice Tower East was over a week ago. Okay, it's been catch up. It's been a lot going on. Anyway, Skyrise. Skyrise is from Roxy Games. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. In fact, it's a lot of games I've played this past week, but I specifically wanted to bring up Skyrise from like a week and a half ago because I had so much fun playing Skyrise. I thought it was really well done. I thought I thought it's been a while since I played it. This is my first time playing it since playing the prototype, and it was just a great game. The bidding of it is really solid. It makes me want to play Nocturne again, because I recently got Nocturne from Flat Out Games, which has the same bidding mechanism, and so I really enjoyed Skyrise. I thought it was a longer game than I think it should have been. We were taking our time, we were schmoozing, we were talking, we were having a good time, but I never minded it because it was so good, both in terms of the people at the table, as well as in terms of the game itself. So overall, really enjoyed Skyrise and recommend checking it out. And with that, we're going to talk about the week in review, starting off with this past Saturday. This past Saturday, I reviewed Vaalbara from Hachette Games. I was okay with Vaalbara. I wasn't overly impressed with it. It was a fine game. It's a similar kind of concept to actually Far Away, but I didn't get the vibe quite as much. Meaning it's a similar idea in the sense that you are playing a card every round. It's going to determine the order of the cards you draft in terms of the landscapes you pull into your board. Just the overall puzzle, it felt very Libertalia adjacent, mini Libertalia as it were, and I was not as intrigued by it. I also had later on Saturday, we had a preview for Pandora Celeste. That went up later on Saturday. This is sponsored content. Just going over Pandora Celeste, which is currently over on GameFi. You can check that out. And that one is kind of like, it's going to have a similar gameplay style to Nemesis while being very different in a lot of the aspects of it. But if you're someone who enjoys Nemesis, definitely worth checking out. And if you're someone who Nemesis priced you out of their price point, then this is also worth checking out. On Sunday I had another video on the whole dollar newsletter thing, although this time it's the $5 newsletter thing, because it already has gone up, although I had someone in the comments saying that they already encountered a $10 newsletter thing. And if you don't know about it, shortly, a very short version is the newsletter thing is where before a campaign goes live, you pay a company $1, $5, $10, whatever it is, and you get access to like a special bonus for doing so, but you're doing so before the campaign goes live. And if you don't do it so before the campaign goes live, you lose access to that special bonus. And I'm very, very against this practice. I've put up 3 videos on the subject now, and the most recent one was inspired by the fact that when the whole practice started, everyone's like, it's just $1, it's just $1, like it's just $1, what's the big deal, why are you all losing your minds? And a lot of people were of the opinion that it would quickly change because in general, when you let a practice continue to happen, it does continue to get pushed. And so I don't know how the landscape's going to totally adjust or change or whatnot, but because it already has seen that scope increase, seen that adjustment, I want to talk about it yet again. And I may talk about it in the future as well. I want this practice to end. I actively want to I don't control what will happen in the crowdfunding landscape, and I shouldn't control, but I certainly can lend my voice to something that I view as a bad practice, and I do view it as a bad practice. It doesn't mean that it is a bad practice. It doesn't, to be very, very clear. And the usual things I should say, the creators who are doing it, I don't think they are bad people. I think they are all creators who are trying to use marketing tactics at their disposal. And how do you know which marketing tactics are good, which ones are bad, which ones have a vocal minority yelling against it? Like, the problem is, like, there's always going to be a vocal minority, and the vocal minority can be very vocal. And the problem with that is sometimes you don't know. And like, from a creator perspective, have sympathy for the creators in this conversation, because there are times when you should actively ignore the people who are telling you not to do something, because sometimes it seems like a very loud voice, but it's really just like the same 10 people saying the same thing very, very loudly. And so from the standpoint of being a creator, you shouldn't always listen to feedback. You shouldn't. You have to figure out when to listen to feedback, and it's not always easy to do so. Now, don't get me wrong, just based on the perception I've seen, based on polls that have been put out with hundreds of users, based on the sheer number of comments I get on my video, I do not think that this is like 10 vocal people. I think this is a fairly large segment of the board game population that is very upset at this practice. But I also recognize that I can't quantify how large that segment is, and neither can the creators, and so I don't think creators who are doing this are bad people or acting in bad faith. I think they are trying to do their best, and I'm sympathetic to them. I still view the practice as harmful and bad for the crowdfunding space, and I would like the crowdfunding space to have long-term success as opposed to short-term success at the cost of long-term burnout and long-term loss. And so for me, I'm very against the practice because I believe it's bad for the crowdfunding space, I believe it's bad for the consumer, and I will continuously talk about it whenever there's a reason to do so. I'm not just going to put up a video every 2 months just because of no reason at all. There has to be a prompt for it, but if there is a prompt, such as something changing or being more frequent or any of those things, then I will engage with it. On Monday we had the 2 back or not to back, going over a bunch of crowdfunding campaigns. There were a bunch of campaigns that really, like, it's been a while since, like, this week I think there's 3 campaigns I'm getting. There's DC United, there's 20 Strong, and there's Brink. It's been a long time since I've actually, like, been getting multiple campaigns in a single week. Usually, like, once upon a time I used to back, like, 10 plus campaigns a month. Then it slowly dropped to like the point where it's like, 2 or 3 a month. And this was like 3 in 1 week, which is very unusual for me. It happens, but it's very unusual. Then we had on Tuesday. We have Luthier. We had a review for Luthier. I gave it a 4 to 5. I really enjoyed it. It is tricky to review some games because I think Luthier is a very solid game. I think the testimonial they used for me was like, it might be a 5 out of 5 for you. And I mean that because Luthier to me is very reminiscent of some really tight Euros that have been very, very well received that I just liked. And I do like Luthier, to be very clear. It's not a 3.5, it's a solid 4 to 5. The interplay, the interaction, it's great. I also don't think it's a game that I'm going to personally get or keep, only because the heavy Euro space for me is so competitive that I realistically only keep 4.5s and higher. At this point, if you're a 4 to 5, you are not safe in my collection as a heavy Euro. There are many games that could be safe as a 4 to 5, but a game that's going to take up 2 hours of my time and play best of 3 or 4 players, I have too many games that want that the 4.5s are the ones that last, especially if you're a Euro game. So Luthier is not a game I'm getting. It's not a game for me. It's not a game for me. It's not a game that I would prioritize getting personally, but it is a game that I think is very, very, very well done and is reminiscent of a lot of Euros that have been very well received. Like, if you like games like Lorenzo Magnifico, like, this is definitely a game to check out. Very, very well done. Then later on Tuesday, we had a review for On Tour Paris in New York. Overall solid game. I enjoy it. I think that's a 3.5, and I'm still keeping that because it's so easy to table. I like the On Tour game, and I like the On Tour game system, so having more maps for it just makes it an easy game to pull out and just start drawing your way way around the board and seeing where you go. Gave it a 3.5 out of 5. And then lastly on Tuesday we had a review for Fafnir. Not really a review, more of a first impressions. Flames of Fafnir from Lucky Duck Games, currently on crowdfunding. That was a hard one for me because there's an issue with the physics of the game. The prototype, the physics are still not where I think they need to be. They already have tweaked them and adjusted them. I still think they need to be improved. But overall, regardless of the physics, I don't think it's a game for me because of the semi-co-op nature where halfway through the game one player can change sides and then become a one versus many. That kind of really changes the entire way I would interact with the game, and it makes it it's a fun experience. I played it a few times now, and it's a fun experience. It's not an experience I would seek out. So, like, do I have fun while playing it? Yes, but I can have fun while playing a lot of games. Instinctively, it's either a 3 or maybe a 3.5, but I don't know for sure until the physics are fully ruled out and the player count aspects are balanced, because it's not balanced around player count right now, which is very tricky. I mean, inherently, a game that has one player switching sides against the other players, I mean, you have to balance around player count, and I just don't think they did. So right now it's very much in the prototype phase, and we'll see how the final game shows up. On Wednesday we had a 20 games to demo at Gencon. This is a list of games you can demo at Gencon, including Luthier. That's going to be there as well. Also, where do we have? We had, what's that video game one? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. There were a bunch of games that you could demo at Gen Con, but like one in particular, there's one video game, that Dead Cells. I had a lot of people saying, is Dead Cells available? I'm like, no, it's just available to demo, not to buy. This is a list of the games you can demo, not a list of games you can buy, but there are 20 games you can go ahead and demo at Gen Con, including Defenders of the Realm, the new Legends, the game version of it, whatever it is. But there's a bunch of games. Feel free to check out that video if you want my 20 recommendations for games that might be most interesting to try out. Later on Thursday we had a fun one. We had an unboxing for Army of the Dead. Okay, we had an Army of the Dead unboxing, which was a surprise game that showed up that I was not expecting to show up. That showed up on this week, and so we have an Army of the Dead unboxing showing up on the channel. I will hopefully be playing it as soon as I possibly can, which is why it's behind me on the couch over here. We also had a weekly live, which I'm so excited for. Do you know how long it's been since we've had a weekly live? It's been forever. I haven't done a live show in a long time because in my last house, I had all those internet issues at the end, which are just causing way too much stuff. Over here, I have excellent internet, by the way. I'm very, very happy with it. But I've just been so busy moving that I have not, and then traveling, that I haven't had a chance to do a weekly live. So we're going to have a weekly live right now. And, well, not now, but on Thursday. On Thursday, we had a weekly live. And then lastly, also on Thursday, we had a DC United gameplay. This is a gameplay I did with my son, where we played against Darkseid. We played against Darkseid. We took him on, a 2-player game, basically take him on, and you can watch that and see how well we did. On Friday we had a few things going up. We had a Dice Tower vlog, a recap of Dice Tower East, just a vlog going up, just covering all the stuff. And then we also had a Games Added in July video. This is the complement to the games leaving, but this is talking about the games that I added in, do I call it July, June? I don't know. I'll take a look. But whatever it is, the games I added to my collection from the games I played last month. And then today we're going to have a few things. We should have, actually, I'm not sure what we'll have today. So today, I don't know yet what videos are going up today, because it very much depends on what I was able to get filmed. There are a bunch of videos that I'm filming this on Wednesday. That's not true. I'm filming this on Thursday for context. So it should, and in general, the weekend review is almost always filmed on Wednesday or Thursday. Sometimes it's filmed on Friday, but it's never the day. Like sometimes like breaking news happens on Friday. People are like, why wasn't it on your weekend review? Because usually I film these on Wednesday or Thursday. Sorry. But anyways, as far as the videos today, I'm not sure what goes up today because I have a bunch of things planned. I have my backups ready, but there are a bunch of videos I'm hoping to film today after this video, and we'll see if they get done or not. If they do, it'll change what goes up today. So keep your eyes tuned. There may be fun videos. They'll probably be in the timestamps down below. Maybe it'll be in the timestamps. I don't know. We'll take a look and see. As far as next week, there should be a bunch of things going up. We're going to have 10 games that had massive hype, hopefully going up. And these I often rearrange because the second one's going to be going up is a Game Found and Simon semi-apology video. It's basically talking about doing God of War. There was a lot of pushback around my approach to covering God of War, and then potential conflict of interest and bias around Game Found and the way it looked, and it looked like I was favoring the campaign, and I pushed back against that viewpoint pretty heavily. And in hindsight, I don't know if it was fair of me to do so, but you can check out this video. It hopefully is going up this week. I think I've said a few times it might be going up, so I don't know, but hopefully that'll be going up this Sunday, I want to say. But it's a Game Found and Simon / apology for just the balance I have to do as a creator of having the life I lead, where I cover games on this channel very actively, but I'm also CMO of Game Found, and that does produce a conflict of interest. I don't personally think that I am as affected by that. Like I've said this in the past, I do think I'm affected by biases. I do not think I'm immune to them at all. But to me, my biases most commonly, in my own opinion, which is not fact, my biases most commonly manifest in terms of personal relationships. So if I like you as a person, if I have interacted with you as a creator, to go ahead and give your game a 2.5 out of 5, knowing you'll watch the video and then I'm going to see you at the next 4 cons, that is the hardest bias to overcome. I do my best to do so, but that is absolutely the hardest bias to overcome. Versus GameFound stuff, I don't think I'm biased by it. Of course, subconscious bias is a thing, but that's not the area where I personally feel I'm biased by, past subconscious, but that is the area that often gets the most scrutiny. At the end of the day, I have to cater not to what I think I'm biased by, but to what you are concerned with as the viewer. Whoever you are as the viewer, if you have a concern, that's the concern I have to address. If you don't care or think about the fact that I'm going to see a creator at a convention, I have to think about that when I'm reviewing their games, then I don't have to really address that. I have to be mindful because I have to be true to myself, but I don't have to worry about your perception. The things that affect you, the things that you're mindful of, the things that you're worried about are still the things that I have to engage with because I have a responsibility to you as the viewer. So that's a video going into that. Anyways, that's basically it. That is that, which brings us to the games on the couch. We have a bunch of games that I hope to be playing, well, soon. We have Wild Gardens over here, which I saw Dice Tower just reviewed it. I don't even know what they reviewed it, because I saw the title. I saw they reviewed it, I didn't watch the review. But I have Wild Gardens, which I've read the rules to, and hope to be diving into both solo and multiplayer, and then covering that shortly. We have over here Monster Chase, which I hope to be playing this week, because it looks like a funny little cute game, and I read the rules for it already. We have Foundations of Metropolis, which I hope to have coverage. I hope to have a review up for you, I want to say Tuesday if things go well, but we'll see how the week goes. But this is an easy one to cover, because I've played Foundation of Rome a dozen times, and I just want to play this to see how the differences are. And then we have Army of the Dead, a Zombicide game that I very, very hopefully want to play today being Thursday, and I want to play it, and then do a gameplay, and then hopefully review it at some point when I have a chance. So we'll see when that goes up. But anyways, that has basically been your news and week in review. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I appreciate you being here, and as always, I hope you have a good one.